I don't see
So
Mark.
why can't I go to the bathroom?
Well, I'm just teasing you because you just chugged down, what, 3 cups of water. Okay, and Micah, I don't see Micah here today
Actually,
either. All right, gentlemen, a couple things that we're going to go over today. Number one, I want to talk about your quizzes. You guys overall did very well, so I want to go over a couple of the problems. You all missed about the same thing on the problems. We are going to start a new unit. It'll be our final unit for the year. Hard to believe. And I'm trying to make it interactive and fun, but that you are also learning new materials. So I'm not a fan of saying learning is fun, because the truth of it is it's really, really hard. If you think that way, then you're not disappointed all the time. But I know that this kind of online stuff is requiring you to do a lot of reading and writing, so I want you to be more active, like I've always promoted in the classroom. So lots to kind of go over in piecemeal today, and we'll begin in prayer as always. Let's see, Charles, have you led us in our Zoom prayer?
yes.
I think I did once. I can't remember though.
We'll have you do it today. That's fine.
Okay. In the name of the Father, Son, the Holy Spirit. Glory be to the Father, to the Son, to the Holy Spirit, as it was in the beginning, is now, and shall be, without end. Amen. Father, Son, Holy Spirit.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Mustard seed, April 30th. Today's the last day of April. Tomorrow begins May. April 30th. The goodness of God is unending, and he will never be outdone in his generosity. Give all that you can. He will give even more.
We need to say poetry on April because it's the poetry month.
April is the poetry month, or May is?
April is.
April, so last day of poetry.
I'll say some good poetry.
Colin, that's why I teach science. English and writing is not my thing. Okay, gentlemen, at the end of class, if we have time, Colin, you can share with us your favorite poem. I'm sure you have written a few very, very entertaining.
Roses are red, violets are blue.
End of class, end of class. Okay, are we ready? So first of all, let's go over your quizzes. So what you will notice on your grade is I broke it up into 2 grades, one being the multiple choice part, the second being the problems. It was just easier for me to do that. Both add up to be your 30. I gave you 31 points, I believe. So what I did do on the multiple choice, as I went back and reread them, it was clear that if you missed one question, you would have missed the second because of the same misconception. So I don't want to take off twice for that, and I'll go over the particular problem which inspired that thought. But of course, if you were thinking one way and you missed one, but I didn't go back and see who missed both of them. But overall, those are the ways that you get curves in a class. For my classroom, is if I go back and I say, you know, I try to break up the questions so I'm measuring different skill levels and content area, but it was obvious in the one that you might have missed both for the same misconception. All right, so let me share your quiz with you. I believe everybody here has taken that. So number one, you guys did really, really well, probably the highest average of all my classes. So congratulations on that. And that's a result of many of you putting in a lot of good work. So I appreciate that.
Ms. Rosemary, you realize,
Say that again?
you realize that we have like the 5 smartest kids in this class, or 6 or 7 or how many?
Hey, I'm glad I got you all in one class.
Yeah, I'm one of them, right?
Actually, I have something else I need to share with you all. Before we go over your quiz, thinking of your smartest kids, I sent you guys all a link regarding virtual science fair. If you want to consider that, if you did not read it, you only really have another 2 weeks, I think, before you have to submit it. But it is a contest from a local health insurance company, I believe. And the top prize is $1,500. So it's a cash prize. So it's pretty cool. But anyway, Chase Bruce is participating in it, and he is doing an experiment on memory. So I'm helping him out, and I'm going to ask that you guys participate in this. You might have seen an email from me that gave you a survey, Google link. Do not open that email yet, but we're going to do something. I'm going to show you a picture. That picture is going to contain shapes that are different colors. Your objective is to remember what shape goes with what color. You are not to write it down. You are not to take a screenshot of it. No cheating, be honest. If you give a valid attempt to it, you will be graded today on this for 100% homework grade, which will help most students. I looked at the averages, the homework average is probably the lowest. So you will get a homework grade for this for participating, not for how well you do on it. All right, so I want to just take about 5 minutes of class because I told him that I would be happy to share this with you. And I'm going to give you 1 minute to look at the pictures and the shapes. You have 1 minute to memorize them, however method you use to memorize them, with the exception of writing it or taking a picture of it. Then you're going to go into your email and open up the information, the drive. So after I close it, you'll open that up. So here you go. Here's your picture. Everybody take a look at that. You will notice it says rhombus. In the question, it says diamond, I believe. So you are to try to memorize what color goes with what shape. You have 1 minute to look at
Come on,
that.
Mr. Eisenweaver. Everybody knows a circle is blue. Can't do that to us.
What?
And our heart is pink. Come on.
Hey, Mr. Eisenweaver, what if like you're colorblind?
The star should be yellow.
Then just make a note of that. You can put a note on your quiz, your
I'm
report.
not saying I'm colorblind.
A
I'm
trapezoid.
saying, like,
should
what
be
if
All
you
right,
want?
1 minute in silence. Shh, everybody memorize.
trapezoid should be navy blue.
Colin.
I'm not muted. Oh crap.
So
Five seconds. Okay, now go to your email and open up the shape quiz Google form. It'll be similar to what we got last time. So you should have an email from me that says survey. If you don't have it, send me a chat with your email address and I'll send it to you directly. It would have been sent like 9 o'clock this morning.
We hit submit when we're done.
Yes. And then if you could just wait patiently, I'll give everybody a chance to finish up.
What up, Freak? What up, Ben?
How was your day today, Jacob? Good.
Freak, your TikTok's going kind of viral.
Yeah, I know.
That
It's
was
like
funny.
got 200,000 likes.
It was funny though.
200,000 likes.
I'm gonna go check it.
That showed up on my For You page.
How's my phone?
Franco,
right,
how
is
many
it-
likes?
Is everybody done?
Miss Roger,
Who has 200,000 likes on?
Luke's TikTok.
It's 212,000.
Luke?
Franco?
It's my brother's dog.
I don't know how to, is TikTok on YouTube or what?
No, it's an app.
It's an app. It's like Instagram and everything. I can't get all this stuff they're putting out on Benedictine because I have to have an Instagram account.
All we need is a Benedictine TikTok account.
I don't know. I have to, so
Definitely,
I'm
like,
learning all this.
state champ-
Maybe by the end of the year, we'll have a class where you all teach me these other apps. I've learned a lot this time, but, all right, give me my video back. All right, Wave, if you need more time.
Miss Verizon,
I'm pretty smart. I feel pretty good about it.
Miss Verizon, there's a kid from St. Chris who posted a video of them coming out of the tunnel when the game they lost was against us in the state champion.
Yeah.
And
That's
why would he post that?
because he's dumb.
Because St. Chris kids are stupid.
Are you showing it, Colin? Well, it might be a senior who was posting it because it was his last game. Right? I don't know.
But lost it.
He wasn't playing though. It was just some random person who was a student.
I will say we better have football next year because Lee Davis and a Benedictine play. But unfortunately, my son will have graduated, so he's not going to be playing. But anyway, it's been a long time since those two schools have played. We played St. Chris this past year, and actually, it was a great, great game. We were very close to beating them, which was exciting until the last kind of quarter. They were just so much taller. They were very, very tall.
Trinity
Right.
beat Saints.
Trinity beat them? How come Trinity
Yeah.
beat them?
Trinity's horrible.
I don't know why Trinity, I don't know. I didn't follow all the schools for you guys, but I will next year. Okay, so next, your quiz. So let me go back. If you are finishing up that Google form, just do that. Let's go back and talk about your quiz. So I want to share that with you guys. Close this out. And now we want to go to your quiz. Okay, so first of all, as we take a look at this, flag me if there's a particular multiple choice you want to discuss. But the one that seemed to give everybody the most trouble was this one. One impulse occurs when an average force of 25 newtons over 2 seconds, which I'm not sure why there was issues. Impulse is simply force times time. So you would just take 25 times 2 to get 50. And it's always in the same direction as the force. But if you did not do that problem correctly, you would have also missed this problem then that asks for if you double the amount of time that a force is applied, you will do what to the impulse. So knowing that impulse is force times time, you would also double the amount of impulse if you double time. But if you had the wrong equation thought in your head, you would have missed both of those problems. All right, so again, shout out if you need me to do any of these. Another missed one was the person throwing clothes. If you're on a frictionless surface, you cannot walk. So you need friction to be able to push off of something. So you cannot walk, you cannot lay down and slide across because you won't be able to push. And therefore the answer that is the best is B, the middle one, because if you throw something, your momentum before is 0. Afterwards, if I throw my coat, the coat goes forward, I go backwards or vice versa. But I will move in the opposite direction of my coat. All right, next, let's talk about these problems. All right, so real quickly, as we take a look at these problems, here, this one, I'm just gonna write, not the equations, everything for the sake of time, but you would have 5, right? Having a velocity of 4, so 5 times 4 plus, the other one was at rest, so it has no momentum, equals, the two stick together, so their total mass would be 10 times your unknown velocity. So here you would have simply had 20 divided by 10 for your final answer to get 2 meters per second. So you had to make sure you had units. Meters per second was the correct answer for your velocity, equals your velocity. Okay. So you could have also done that just in your head to say, you know that mass is going to double. So if mass doubled because they stuck together, your velocity would be half as much. Anybody have a question on that one? Okay, going on to the next one. This was the most missed question. Okay, the 1,000 kilogram car. And the reason is for the same reason, everybody missed it just about for the same reason. And that is, one car is moving east, the other car is moving west, right? So Jackson, how do I distinguish east from west?
Would one be like a negative direction?
Correct. So when you write in these numbers, you have 1,000, right, times its speed of 20 plus 750 times its speed of negative 25. So the negative 25 will cause these two numbers to subtract as opposed to add. So all of you that got an answer, and then your final speed over here would have been, or your mass, 1750, right? Times some velocity v. So some velocity v, divide both sides by the 1750. Since those are going to subtract, you would have 1,200 left on the left side as opposed to 28 or 38,000. So when you divide both sides by the 1750, your final answer comes out to be 0.71. So it would have been 0.71, not 22. Many of you got 22, which shouldn't have made sense. Because if you ended up with a positive 22, that means you would be going backwards faster in the same direction as this one, faster, but you collided with somebody going in the opposite direction. So if nothing else, it definitely had to be less than 20 if you continued in the same direction as this object. So the most missed thing was not putting this in as a negative right here. All right, any questions on that one? All good? Okay. So the next one, I'm just going to discuss very, very quickly. They are both at rest to begin with, so your momentum beforehand for both of them would be 0. Your momentum afterwards then would be 0.7 times some velocity, because that's the gun, plus 0.05 times the 25. Right, so this would have ended up coming to the other side. So you would have had the negative over here. You would have had negative 0.7 times v equals, and then this number. So you would divide by the 0.7. Your final velocity came out to be a negative value of about 1.8, depending how many decimals you carried. The negative simply meaning it's going in the opposite direction of the bullet. So mathematically, this kind of proves, these two problems both prove what we saw in the problem with the lady throwing the coat on the ice. Okay, so that is your quiz. Does anybody have any particular questions on any problems?
Did you turn in the grade? Put in the grade?
All your grades are in, yep. So give me a thumbs up if you're good to go and no more questions on the quiz. Let me see that you're paying attention. Jacob, you good to go? Everybody good? Okay, thank you. All right, so let's stop that share. Good. All right, so next up. So that concludes momentum. We may or may not have an exam on that or test on that at the end, but that is it. Taking your measurement and all that. You guys did pretty good on that. I'd like to move on to our new topic. And in this new topic, I have a little bit of a challenge for you, just like we did with momentum. So in momentum, I gave you the challenge of tossing the egg and catching it, right? And just for fun, for your entertainment this year, or right now, I'm gonna go ahead and share a egg toss video with you. So those of you guys that did not do the egg toss video, I will still accept that, all right? So if you still wanna turn that in, you may do so. Okay, so this video, I'm happy to share because I shared with you all about my best friend that passed in January. And this is her right here in the pink. I found this from last year, so we have celebrated Easter together probably about 20 years. This is her daughter. We always had an Easter egg catch. So not so successful, right? So watch this. She ran up on it, catches it over her head, splashed all over her. So again, she goes back, she's so excited to catch, no give in her hands whatsoever, right? So just had to share that with you and remind you that if you guys have not done the egg toss, I will accept that up till next Thursday. So that was just for mainly you guys having fun and going out there, but she caught it like this, right? No give at all, and it just splattered out because there was a short time and therefore a large force. Those of you guys that shared your videos, you gave, right? You caught it like this and you gave, and if you can't give with your hands, you can give with your legs as you catch. So that was all with momentum. My other challenge for you was juggling. So Ben commented, it's a good day to practice juggling because it's just raining outside. So next Thursday, May 7th, you will live juggle for me. So some of you sent me videos, but for the contest of one class compared to another, I'm going to have you do it live, and I want to see how well you're doing so you can even see one another. If you can't get it, that's fine, but give it a valid attempt and practice. So you can go back and watch my video giving advice on how to practice that. But if I've not seen you juggling yet, that's next Thursday. Both of those are for a grade. The egg toss is extra credit. The juggling is a grade. Okay, so you want to make sure you do that. All right, so those are two challenges. I'm going to give you a third one today. Before I begin that, it has to do with energy. So Micah, if you have a voice today, when I say energy, what do you think of? Can you give me a definition of what you think energy means?
A definition of energy?
Yeah.
Probably like, I guess like power that can be used, I guess, for different things like chemical resources, light, heat.
Okay, you're thinking in
Machines.
terms of like our electrical power, maybe.
Yeah,
So
that's
you
what
said-
comes to mind when I think of energy.
Good, okay. I'll take that.
Or strength
So,
and physical
Wilson.
power.
Wilson, what do you think energy means? Give me a definition of what you think energy might mean. Wilson, you still with us?
Yeah, sorry, I couldn't unmute it. Energy, it's basically like when something's about to happen or if something's like moving.
Okay, when something is about to happen, or something is moving. I like that. All right, Jagan, what about you? Energy.
Oh, like energy is like what like turns the lights on.
Okay. Energy is what
So, like-
turns lights on.
Like you need energy to run the house.
Need energy to run the house. So you're also thinking maybe in terms of electrical energy like Micah was? What if I said today, so Luke, today I'm not seeing much energy, but when your TikTok video was mentioned, lots of people jumped up with some energy. So what might that mean if I say you need energy, you have energy? What do you think energy means?
Are you asking me?
Yes, Luke. What do you think?
I'm not sure. Well, in that aspect, it can mean like excitement, but
Okay. In the way that I explained it, it could mean excitement. I like that thought. Good. So we use energy in many different ways of thinking electrical side, which is where a lot of your minds might go, especially since now we talk a lot about alternative energies and electric cars and gas and all of those kinds of things. But often you may have been told, oh my gosh, I don't have any energy today. I can't get anything done. What does it mean in terms of us? Energy. Okay, and Wilson, when something is about to happen, something is moving, right? I like that too. So there's lots of things we come to mind when we think of energy. But in physics, we have one very, very simple definition, and that is that energy, these are good, all of them fall into our definition of energy. And our simple definition of energy is that it is the ability to do something. It's the ability to do work. Okay, and as you mentioned with electrical energy, my excitement, me personally, internally, the energy that I have, energy is one of the most important things in physics, and actually very important in our physical world. And I know I've shared this with you guys before, I just listened to a podcast from Brian Greene is his name, and he's an astrophysicist, and he studies the astronomy and the universe. And he's an atheist, so he does not believe in a God. So it was really interesting to hear his explanation of what we see out there and the unknowns that we see in the universe. And I know I've mentioned this before, and we've come up with a term now called dark energy. Well, dark energy is this extra energy we've now discovered. So energy is really, really important. And I think I've commented to you before, well, that's my God, right? To me, God has something to do with energy. There's so much out there when it comes to energy, and I've read some things about this, and it really intrigued me because I know when I go to church and after I pray, I feel like I have more energy. There's something to be said about that, that idea of energy in a spiritual way as well as our physical way. So on a philosophical way, I definitely think God is a form of energy. Not Jesus is our person in God, right? So that I like that we believe in the Trinity and the three persons of God. Anyway, that's my throw in there for science and faith. But energy, good ideas there. The ability to do work. For homework, you have a couple things this weekend. So if you want to work on your egg toss, juggling, your next thing, all of you had different definitions. I want you to read in the textbook. So for homework, I want you to read chapter 3. Whoops, sorry, not chapter 3, chapter 7, sections 1 through 3. Has everything to do with energy. Specifically also work. What do we mean by work? So Wilson, when you said the ability to do something, in order for me to do something, I'm going to have to apply a force. So work has to do with the forces that you are applying because you have energy. We're also going to take a look at something called the conservation of energy. So I'll step aside as you write that. We need to look at energy as different forms. How do I change from one form of an energy to another? So this is probably one of the most important topics, but we're going to end with it at the end of this year. And if you continue on in your study of physics, we'll pick up on energy and how important that is. But for your inspiration and what I would like to do with you, okay, is introduce you to something called, so this is my project for y'all, something called a Rube Goldberg. Raise your hand if you've ever heard of that. Okay, so some of you have, some of you may have made one in the past. Okay, so Rube Goldberg in physics takes energy in many, many different forms and uses that energy to accomplish a simple task. So the definition of a Rube Goldberg machine, let me pull this up for you. So here is your next challenge that will carry you till the end of the year. So watch carefully. You are going to build a Rube Goldberg machine. A Rube Goldberg machine is a contraption, invention, device, or apparatus that is deliberately over-engineered to perform a simple task in a complicated fashion, generally including a chain reaction. So that's the definition of Rube Goldberg that you can pick up on Wikipedia. My definition is that in the contraption, work is done on one object, causing the chain reaction. This chain reaction is actually what we would call conservation of energy in physics. I'm going to go from potential energy to kinetic energy. In the end, the work done to get the machine started triggers another object to accomplish a simple task. You get to choose what that task is, okay? So you get to choose the task and what you're going to have it do. So you can have it do something simple. It lifts something. You can have it shoot a ball and make a basket. You could have it throw something, right, so that it hits something else and break something. You could have it crack an egg if that's what you want to do. You could have it catch something that's falling. I want to show you a video for some inspiration on what you're going to do in a Rube Goldberg. So this video, though, keep in mind, is done by professionals. This is pretty much what they do. They are probably professional YouTubers that make their videos and put them out there for these unique things. So watch this video. Notice that in the video, only objects that are easily accessible in your house are being used. And that's the goal. So that was the inspiration. I thought, I don't want you guys solving problems the rest of the year, even though we're going to put some of those in there. I want you to be doing something. I want you to build something for me for your finale for our physics pre-engineering class, is what I would call this course. So can you build me something? Now, I don't want you to watch this and think, oh my gosh, that would take forever. And yes, it would. Yours does not have to be this long. This one lasts almost 5 minutes. All right, so watch carefully all the energy conversions. Watch how it almost appears like perpetual motion, as if something is just constantly moving over and over again. And I'll talk a little bit as we go through it. My favorite are the use of the cups, plastic cups in this. So let me close this one out here. Hold on a second. Okay, get on this one. So the task that they tried to have happen here is passing the salt. So that's what this is named, passing the salt. So they are eating lunch. Oops. And here we go. Oh, sorry. So here's some salt. That triggers another object. So on, just keeps triggering motion. So plastic balls, ping pong balls, dominoes, as you saw right there. Domino is a big one. So Micah and Jacob, you made some domino things for me at the beginning of the year. That would be considered a little bit of a Rube Goldberg. This is one of my favorites because of all the cups. So because of the top of the cup has a different diameter than the bottom. So notice how something that seems like it's moving so slow sparks so much energy. This one's pretty cool. Now, I love my ice cream, but I do not own that many ice cream scoops. But that's a neat thought, using the towel to drag something across that hits another object. Notice there's weight on the end of those towels, right? And here's the salt finally. Remember, he asked to pass the salt. What do you think? Can you guys build that? Jacob, you are the domino king. Come on. Micah, you and Jacob had those dominoes. Now, that's the goal. So you're going to use things in your house. Let me go back and explain the rules. This is all found on your course documents, okay? Now, I don't want you to be like, oh, this looks so hard. Instead, I want you to be like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. How can I build that? So even if you had just one table, like they had maybe 7 tables lined up, one of those would be sufficient for your project for me. All right, so let's go back to the rules of what you are looking at here. I go back. Oh, don't tell me I closed it. Give me a second. Looks like I got rid of it here. All right, for the sake of time, because I guess we're pretty good on time. 47. Okay, so this document can be found on Blackbaud in your course documents with all the rules. Your homework, in addition to reading about energy, is to take a look at, in your house, start to get inspired with what things are sitting around. Do not use things that somebody's going to need because you're actually going to want to build this and have it be available to be able to use easily, right? And get to easily, and keep set up over the next couple weeks. So if I go back to our Zoom, let's see, share my screen. Sorry, I guess when I had it open the last time I closed it. All right, so Rube Goldberg Challenge. Let me finish telling you your rules so that you can get a good grade. You're building constraints. You can only use what's found in your house. I don't want anybody running out and going shopping. Now, you certainly can get more things as you go shopping, because I know we're all going to the grocery store and maybe Lowe's and Home Depot, but you are not doing that to go get your physics stuff. You must change energy in 3 forms. We're going to talk about this next week. So I will teach you about kinetic, potential energy, and work. And as I'm teaching you that, I want you to implement these ideas in your Rube Goldberg. So that's the purpose. So I don't want you to just copy notes from me. I want you to use what I am teaching you in this project. Your objective is to accomplish a simple task, such as making a basket, picking up an item, closing something, passing the salt. I put that in parentheses because that's what we saw in the video. What will you be graded on? So first of all, this is due on Thursday, May 14th for you guys, because that's when I will have you in class. You must show it to me live. So you will show the rest of the class your Rube Goldberg with your computer screen on. So you must consider, how am I Zooming? Is it with a desktop so that I will have to set up my table near my desktop, or can I use my phone? How are you going to show us your Rube Goldberg? So I want that done live. You will get multiple trials. So if you mess up on one, let's say the domino doesn't fall over correctly, you can fix it back up. You get 3 tries. Your machine, for the sake, I cannot have each one of you last 5 minutes because we'll run out of time. Your machine must last 10 to 60 seconds, a minimum of 10 seconds, a maximum of 1 minute. So I cannot have it be too long, okay? You must be able to answer questions, and don't worry about this until we cover things. This will make more sense. I want you to use words instead of you just using that energy is something that makes something else happen. You're going to be graded on, are you using the right terms when we talk about your Rube Goldberg as far as kinetic energy, potential energy, work, forces. Your final grade is going to count as a big test grade. Next Thursday, along with juggling and that your egg toss is due, I want you to show me proof that you're thinking about this. Maybe you have questions. I'm trying to do this, but I can't get it to move fast enough. Any ideas? So next Thursday, I want proof that you are working towards this, okay? So that's your goal. You are going to try to work on a Rube Goldberg. So the other half of your homework is to collect and brainstorm ideas. Now I will tell you, you can just Google and go on YouTube and just type in Rube Goldberg and you'll find a whole bunch that people do. And this is just fun. I mean, you can even get your family involved in everything. I don't care if other people help you to build. I just really want you to have fun with it. But I also want you, just like catching the egg, I want you to have a practical experience when I'm talking about energy and forces. So it will allow us to relate to that as I'm going over things so that you have something to put your hands on, and then I can talk to you about it when we talk about energy, okay? So not meant to be stressful, but rather informative. That's the word that I want to use. Does anybody have any questions on the expectations, what you're allowed to use? So again, my number one recommendation, like this room that I'm in, that I'm teaching you from, I have taken over in my house. So I'm fortunate that my older children have moved out and I have made use of their old bedrooms. So I've taken it over as now my classroom. If you have a space like that in your house that you can take over in the next couple of weeks to keep building your Rube Goldberg, that's what I recommend. So that your cat, your dog, your little brother and sisters, Jackson, are not going to come in and mess it up, right? And they can certainly help you because you don't want to set up all those dominoes every time you test it out. And I highly recommend you make sure the setup is easy to repeat, that as you're thinking of ideas. And my last recommendation is, we are creatures of habit. We get an idea in our head and we just keep trying it, even though it's failing over and over and over again. So that's what I'm giving you a couple weeks for. Let's say you're trying something, it's just not working out right the way you want it. You may use class time, and I'll leave the first 5 minutes of class. You can show it to me and you can say, I'm trying this, any ideas? And then maybe we can all come with ideas like, oh, why don't you hang the weight here? It'll make it spin differently, and so on. But be willing to change your mind. So number one, as you are focusing, the good engineer is one that recognizes it's time to change ideas. We got to completely think creatively, okay? Don't keep trying the same thing over and over again if it's not working correctly. So be willing to just bail and try something new. So dig out all your Hot Wheel cars, your marbles, tennis balls, Legos, Lincoln Logs. What else might you have? Hot Wheel tracks. Did you see the Go Fish game? Did you guys have that? Where the fish went around, and as they go around, their mouths open up and you had to catch them. Did anybody have that game? We had one like that. And it was, the fish would go around in a circle. So dig out your old games. Have some fun with it. Okay? All right, that's it for me. If you guys don't have any questions, are we clear on your homework and what you need to do? It's Friday. No class till Tuesday of next week. That's a long time. I'll miss you all. Hope you have a great weekend. Email me if you have any questions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms.